You're listening to Ernestly Speaking, the only weekly podcast that covers friends, foes, and anything that goes. And now, for your badass host, Ernest Owens. And we're back for a new season of Ernestly Speaking with your host, Ernest Owens, myself. Well, it is season 2. We've made it. A new year, a new season, a new situation. I am excited. This is officially, I guess, episode 51, but for the sake of podcasting organization, episode 1 of season 2. So it's a brand new season, and I'm so excited to bring in the new year with you all. Some of you all have been devout listeners, probably have listened to every episode of Ernestly Speaking, including the bonus episode. So welcome. Some of you all probably have been catching up and, probably was told that this was the podcast, the new podcast of the year. So a lot of you all are, saying, what is this about? Let me get in where I fit in. So welcome to everyone, legendary listeners and new listeners. Welcome to season 2. So one of the great things I did that a lot of you have been complimenting is the artwork for season 2 is in color. I started off this podcast with a very black and white, old school photo design look. It was very very kind of subtle and chill. But I said, I wanted to do something that was going to fresh up this new season, but not anything dramatic or something that was going to be disruptive. And we just decided to just go in color. And so it just looks good. I just love the look. It's just, it's a different mood, I feel like. And I also think it represents the glow up. My skin is glowing. And apparently on Instagram, I was giving beauty tips behind what makes my skin glow. And a lot of you all was, just paying attention to one particular detail, which is hilarious. And if you know, if you don't, it's okay. But this is exciting. I'm a little proud of myself that I've kept going because it's not to say that podcasting is the hardest thing in the world, but it is something that if you really want to build it, you have to, perfect it. It's like playing the piano. It's like, learning how to paint. You have to continue to practice and get better and figure out your groove and your flow. And that's what I've done. And I really have a groove. And it's almost to the point where it's like, I don't know how people get excited to do yoga or something in a week, or how I'm starting to get excited about Peloton. You kind of anticipate it. Like you just, you're like, yes, I can't wait to put it on here and get into it. That's my mood with doing this podcast. Like I always get excited at the end of the week because there's stuff I'm hearing and reading and seeing and writing about throughout the week that I'm like, finally, like, this is the place where I can, just put it all there, uncensored, unfiltered. And that's really what makes this podcast unique. For those who read and see me on other, television or radio or whatever, this is a place where I kind of take all of my ideas and all of my thoughts beyond the word count, beyond the that's all we have for today, folks, on television. Like this is the opportunity for me to just pour it all out. Beyond the character count on Twitter and the limitations of social media in general. This is the place where I put it all there in my own words. And so I express really how I feel, in depth. And that's what this podcast is about. So, I'm excited. I'm just like, I can't say anything, more than just, it's been a great time. So we started this podcast last year, right around the time of the insurrection. And now we're in the 1-year anniversary of Ernestly Speaking, but we're also in the 1-year anniversary of the insurrection. And it's just been something that, I've thought about. I don't really have anything profound to say outside the fact that now it seems like a lot of these, Republicans are trying to now act like, oh, it wasn't that big of a deal. Oh, it wasn't that crazy. And it's like, no, you all threw a terrorist attack or as I call it, a terrorist temper tantrum, because someone lost an election, and you all thought that that meant saying, you know what, we're going to fuck over democracy for this man. That's that's what you all tried to do. Well, on this podcast, we try to, add and restore sanity to the world with facts and information. And we're going to continue to do that. And so, as many people begin to try to reflect on January 6th, and reflect on that moment, I'm just someone who's like, look, get these damn hoodlums and thugs out of here. Like, whatever that means. Arrest them, take them, punish them. Like, it's like, this is like, come on. And what's interesting enough, as someone who isn't, who believe in, abolition and believe in some of these ideas, I just think it's interesting that the very people that say they're pro-police and pro-public safety in that type of way, right, the carceral state, that they don't recognize that there were police officers who died during the insurrection. And it's interesting that only Liz Cheney and her father, Dick Cheney, were the only two Republicans that went to the vigil to, reflect and mourn over their death that took place on January 6th of 2022. The Democrats came, of course, Speaker Nancy Pelosi was there, and others. But it was interesting that only two Republicans showed up to, reflect on the life of those law enforcement officers who died. It's just all I gotta say is that it's so funny how those who are very much back the blue, do all of that, seems to, be the most adamant on breaking the law and violating, protocol and procedure. Trying to tell y'all something, make the connection. Okay? Like, this is all performative. The real people who are breaking the law and supporting that kind of behavior are the ones who try to tell everybody else how lawless they are and how they are criminals and thugs. But like, they're literally defending one of the most ridiculous acts of treason in recent American history. I just, where's the conversation about them and the peaceful protesting and you don't hear too much about that anymore though, right? You notice that conversation has kind of been out the window lately. You don't really hear Republicans that are still fucking backing the GOP or the backing the blue and all that. You notice they don't talk too much about the protests anymore. Because every time someone talks about damage of property and threatening lives and all this mayhem that they try to attach with Black Lives Matter protesters and others, I will show you a picture of those insurrections, and I want you to tell me what that was then. Because you're saying, they will say they were fighting for freedom and fair elections. And I will tell you that those people that was out there in Ferguson, that was out there, in Minnesota, that was out there for Breonna Taylor and everyone else, I would say that they were fighting for Black lives and for humanity and for justice. So I'm just saying, and let me just say this, that, a wide majority of Black Lives Matter protests and demonstrations are nonviolent and no one dies, and we're not threatening elected officials in a way that creates the kind of chaos that we saw on January 6th. So it's just interesting how people cherry pick things, but not really that interesting. It's predictable as fuck, actually. It's not actually that interesting. Let me just take that back. I think at this point, it's just like, I'm just putting a mirror up and saying, y'all lying. And that's just how you have to go about it. I think what annoys me on Twitter is how people try to act surprised or perform shock. It's just, you just can't at this point. You just have to just say, they're just dumb people, or people just don't want to believe. I think the word ignorant is getting dead. I don't think any of these people are ignorant. I think these people are woefully choosing the violence and the deception. When you tell people that they're misinformed, like, what do you mean by misinformed? Are you trying to create an excuse or cushion for them? Or are you trying to come to terms with the fact that they are, people say the word woefully ignorant, but just they're choosing to be. They're wrong, right? But there's a deliberate choice. And so we have to start to shift our mindsets on how we frame people like this. I think that I'm just over the narrative that Trump supporters are just dumb. Okay, dumb, and let's unpack that, right? Like they're not dumb. They're drunken racists. They're drunken misogynists. Like we have to recognize that there's levels to this, right? If you are a racist, by default, dumb is not the word we're using here. We should be saying racist instead of for dumb, right? The concept is dumbfounded, right? Those elements of what they're thinking is dumbfounded. But to simply say dumb is very passive, right? When you're trying to say racist, when you're trying to say white supremacist, you'll say ignorant. We're using passive language here. We're using very like we're being inaccurate in our descriptions. We need to call a thing a thing. I don't give a fuck how you call it. Ignorance and racism can be at the same time. People like to say, "Oh, these people are ignorant on race." No, they're not ignorant on race. They're racist. Like say that. Oh, they're racially insensitive. I used to do that when I started my career. I adopted a lot of this oppressive language in my writing based on the things that I was hearing other people say around me. So they'll say things like, "Oh, that was a racially insensitive joke. That was a blah blah blah." And as I began to, read more, understand, and to carve out my actual voice, and I'm talking like at the very beginning of my career. Like, I mean, when I was in college, like writing and covering discrimination and things like that in school, I used to say racially insensitive. I would say these words. But then I got to the point I was like, no, that was racist. Like that person put on blackface. That's racist. It's not racially insensitive. It's racist. So we're using all this like clouded language. Oh, this was sexually suggestive. No, it was sexual harassment. Like you gotta say the words. You gotta put the thing there, because what happens is that when we start to normalize or we start to weaken the actual impact of what it is, we're in many ways could possibly be gaslighting victims, right? People who are actually feeling these emotions. So it's some of this language, this passive ass language, just gotta go. So I don't really do it that, I don't really think I don't try to do it in my writing. If something is racist, it's racist. If it's homophobic, it's homophobic. If it's transphobic, it's transphobic. This is offensive to the trans community. Okay, let's call it for what it is, right? And the thing is that people have the shame of the label, but they don't have the shame of the action that they did. So people will argue all day about don't call me a racist, but it's like, can we talk about what the fuck you did and how it is actually racist? When are we going to talk about that, right? We're spending more time arguing about labels than we are the actual actions. Just trying to let y'all know something here. Think about it. Think about it. It's 2022. I'm really have this mindset in 2022. No excuses. I have a zero policy for any fuck shit. I had a zero policy last year, but I just feel like this year I'm just going to reinforce that anytime I see ridiculousness like this happening, it's like we're not going to keep trying to, create new webs of things. Like mental health defenses have been played out. It's interesting how some people can have mental illness where they're doing the most sexist, racist, misogynistic things, but then somehow know how to act like a decent human being any other time or hour of the day when it doesn't involve people of color, women, and everyone else. Just saying, right? We got to really start, again, when we're throwing out these terms. Are we misdiagnosing people? Like, are we just going to throw that because that's a defense mechanism? So all of a sudden, with Britney, because I was just seeing this the other day, and I'm really in my bag about this, but when I was thinking about Britney Spears, there was this conversation about like now a lot of people are like, oh, she's doing a lot. She's, they're cracking jokes. I talk about, she's making nude photos. Listen, this woman couldn't even get an iPad like about a year ago. Her conservatorship wasn't letting her being able to buy or do anything. She's like literally a free woman. It's almost like like she finally got the rights, the Civil Rights Act in 2021 when her conservatorship broke. Like she's finally able to use a card. This woman is finally able to use a Visa card. Like that's crazy. But taking that into consideration, understanding how all this works, she's able to use a card. She's able to make her own purchases. She's finally able to like have an actual relationship. She's basically getting the opportunity to live a life that she was robbed of for nearly 10 years, over 10 years. Like she's finally able to do so it might seem she's like 40 now, but she's doing things that maybe somebody in their like late 20s would do, but she's been robbed of 10 years. So I get it. I get it. I get why she's having the time of her life. But people over here making jokes, having opinions in a way that kind of feels like they're acting like conservatives for her now. But then with Kanye, oh no. Kanye's a free thinker. Kanye is now headlining Coachella. Kanye out here got publicists intimidating black election workers in Georgia, to try to force them to admit to voter fraud that they didn't even partake in. Like, this is the kind of shit that just, yeah. And then every time you say something about Kanye, then everyone wants to say, oh, well, his mental health is, fuck that shit. He's violent. He is a problem. And two things can exist at the same time, and he needs to stop. I don't think trying to interject people's mental health issues to justify the continual violence they do is helpful. So, okay, at that point, what did I say that was wrong when I said that Kanye needs to sit the fuck down? Well, he has mental health. Okay, yes, he does. Okay, he needs to also sit the fuck down. Like, those two things can be right at the same time. He needs to sit the fuck down. You can't just sit up and say, yeah, we're going to just let him do whatever he wants. We're going to enable the behavior. We're going to go to his concerts. We're going to allow him to violate and disrespect everyone and their mother. And we're just going to sit back and allow it to happen because, mental health. That's not what it is. Mental health issues do not give you a pass to be racist, to be sexist, to be transphobic, to be misogynistic, to be homophobic, to be all of the fucking things. It does not give you a pass to do that. The reality is that if you notice that someone has an issue, then you're supposed to take those things away from them. You're supposed to take the triggers away from them. Could you imagine if someone was dealing with alcoholism, basically going around, driving cars, crashing into people, doing violent shit like that consistently, and every time someone said to them, they need to sit down or we need to take their license, we need to, make them be more responsible, the comment is, no. Leave them alone. They're alcoholic. Don't go in on them. They're dealing with alcohol issues. Okay, that is true. This is why we're saying what we're saying. Case in point. Like that's my defense. So if you're somebody who's still listening to Kanye West, you're still enabling this behavior, you are a part of the problem. You're encouraging this. And that's that on that. Seriously, you are. What an introduction to season 2. I guess I did not run out of things to say. As far as like life updates, I have been doing a lot. This is the busiest January I've ever had in my life. Like, normally I kind of like slide into January. Like, January is supposed to be like a very like, I'm just going to come in and just, like a year ago when I was doing my podcast, at this point I wasn't vaccinated yet because vaccinations were slowly coming down the pipeline. But I was like staying home. The podcast kept me company, and I wasn't married yet, right? All of these things, I was just kind of getting into the groove, just chilling. Oh, this week, I sent in my edits, responses to my book in total. So the book is like getting done, you all. Like, we're in that phase. Like, we're in that, tweaking before the manuscript is complete and goes off to be published into copies and covers and pre-orders. It's coming this time next year, right, in 2023 of January. We'll be talking about the case of cancel culture. Like, we're on the countdown, y'all. We're like officially in the year countdown. Like, I am excited. This is the moment we've all been waiting for. So my mindset for 2022 is that I'm just going to keep killing and slaying, and also getting ready to slay it again in 2023 because a new book is going to be on bookshelves and you all are going to be reading it. You guys are going to make it a bestseller and it's going to slay. I'm speaking that. Like, there's also speaking it to affirmation. I'm speaking it as truth. That's what's going to happen. That's the truth. But I did that, got that out the way. I have been working on a major story for a major publication. Actually, I got to take that back. I've been working on 2 major stories for 2 different major publications that are national. And that got wrapped up. I sent my drafts out, and I understood the assignment. Working with my editors, they love the work. They love what I did with what I was doing, and I'm now in a space where I just am just awaiting for it to hit and to publish. Let me say this: these stories are coming out soon, like at the end of the month, so it's not going to be a long wait time for you to wait. But they're explosive. I can't wait to literally. They both like. I don't even know if they're dropping at the exact same time or same week. But all I know is that we will be discussing them in depth on the podcast because I know so many of you are going to have questions. And I will tell you now that I have backup tea that did not go in these stories or this one particular story that the podcast, we're going to talk about it all. It's going to be a special. It's going to be dope. It's going to be juicy. I think I might, for one of those stories, I might actually do a special edition for one of the stories because it's like, it's going to shake the roof and shake the table across the country. Like I will tell you that you'll be hearing about this in other places other than where I first wrote it. It is going to be a conversation. Like you're going to be like, holy shit. And you're going to be shocked who I interviewed and how it went down. And I'm going to tell y'all right now, it's going to be a career highlight. For sure. This one particular story. The other story is cool too, and I actually think it's great. But both of them are good. But this particular story is a career-defining moment for me. And I know that the impact of it's a long form. It's written. It's thousands of words. It is a long, dense read, but it is a read, and it is juicy. And I have been keeping the secret from you all, as I always have. But I also tell you the secrets. I don't keep them for long. But I will tell you that it's meant to be a situation where you all are going to be like, whoa, oh my God. It is a shocker. So, yeah, there's so much I want to say, but I will save it for the time that come, which will be very, very soon. So that's why if you've been seeing me on social, I have been online, right? And I play and I do all my things, but I'm also working. I'm a working man right now. I came as January full swinging. Normally my stuff spreads out, but now I'm starting to get stuff that's like, it's the life. It's the life. This is what success looks like. I am not complaining. I'm very excited and happy, but I just want you all to know what's coming up on the horizons. And we have more to talk about, and the podcast will definitely get a lot of the behind the stages because when you actually like read the story, you'll be in your mind like, I wonder if he asked this. And the question is going to be, yes, I did ask that. They didn't want to say it in this story. Or anyway, I'm going to tell you all a lot very, very soon. So just buckle up for that. I am going to Vegas this weekend, Las Vegas, for the first time. My father-in-law actually lives in Vegas, so my husband, Mr. Johnson, has been going many times, but this is my first time in Vegas, and we're going to be in Vegas to celebrate my mother's 51st birthday. She was supposed to have her birthday in Vegas like this time last year, but she, there was no vaccinations, there was no, mandates, there was no, everything was still kind of pretty much shut down. So she was like, she wants to do a 50-51 kind of party. That's how she's describing it, which is like, I guess, combining these 2 years together. And a group of her close friends and people are coming. Of course, I'm going to be there. Mr. Johnson's going to be there. We're all going to be there. So we'll be there. We're staying at the Paris, which I'm excited about. I've heard good things about the hotel. And I'm excited because apparently I may be going back to Vegas later this year because the National Association of Black Journalists is hopefully having their annual convention there. They have missed 2 years in a row due to the pandemic. It was supposed in 2020, it's supposed to be in DC, which I've been in DC many times. It was supposed to be in Houston last year, which that took me, that hurt me because I've always wanted to go back home, which I ended up going back home for my brother's graduation. But I want to go back and show out and have some time to like really be in Houston for that much amount of time, but also be in downtown Houston, see some of the new restaurants and new spots. So I was kind of disappointed that it didn't work out, but that's because safety first. But this year, we're waiting. We're gonna see if it's gonna happen. But we're gonna see. But for me, I want to go to Vegas so I can test drive and test pilot the restaurants and the scene. So there's gonna be some Wolfgang Puck and some Hell's Kitchen and some other restaurants. Like the goal was we didn't want to go to any restaurants that were like massive chains. And me, I'm the ultimate party planner. So it's like 12 of us go. We're supposed to be going to the Sahara to see a show. We're going to a lot of these great restaurants. We're going to Old Vegas, I guess the Vegas Strip. I mean, we're doing some other things. I had to create the itinerary as someone who's never been to Vegas. So I literally had to read up on good restaurants. I had to, listen, it's not easy planning, these types of trips. Even though it's a very simple itinerary, it is a masterclass because you're working with, number one, okay, let me just put it this way. Vegas is not cheap. Let's just start there. But with Vegas, it's interesting because if you're not a part of a big conference or convention and you're just not a gambler that hustles, so like my mother loves to go to Vegas. Like it's like one of her favorite cities in the country. Like she just loves to go and go to the casinos. And when she goes with her and a girlfriend, like it's cool because it's like, you go and you have a good time, and you don't have to pay for hotel rooms because oftentimes if you're like a regular casino goer, you can get hotel rooms, you can get this, you can get points. So that's like when she goes, she's never really paying for a hotel room. She's never really doing any of that. So and most of the time drinks are free. She's getting all these hookups, and then she might go out, and it's easy for her to get a restaurant, go to a restaurant because it's just her and a friend. So it's like easy to do Vegas. I feel like Vegas, the smaller the better. If you're trying to do something like that, unless you're with a conference and you're at a convention or you're doing something like that, if you're just trying to roll up in Vegas and have like an experience that doesn't require too much preparation, ahead of time, this is better if it's just one or two people. But in this case, it's like 12 of us. So I had to pull Mission Impossible, which I was able to achieve, okay? By one, the assignment was I had to find restaurants for all 3 days. Like we're there Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and then we're flying out Tuesday. So like 3 days, okay, of, events. But the most important thing was like, okay, figuring out what time is the situation. So, okay, I had to get restaurants, no chains, so no Capital Grill, right? No, Del Frisco's if there is one in Vegas, but like no chain restaurants was the rule. Try not to make everything a steakhouse because you get caught up in that trap. And really get a prefix. Everything needs to be prefixed because with these bills, like when you're going out to dinner with a large crowd, like I have a rule. If it is more than 6 people, I'm doing a prefix. That's always been my rule. Like if it's more than 6 people, preferably 4. But if it's more than 6 people or 6, if it's 6 or more people, I'm doing a prefix menu if I go out. Because I've gone out to restaurants. I've done dinner parties for a long time. I've been doing dinner parties since I was 18. My first dinner party I was 18 in Houston, high school. I was a senior, and it was Chili's. So we've come a long way. We've come a long fucking way. From Chili's to Chima. That's the joke I always make. Because my 28th birthday was at Chima, and my best friend, Jamarcus, we was like talking about the 10-year anniversary dinner parties because he was there with me at Chili's. And actually, there's a video. If you go to my YouTube, my 18th birthday was a film. Like it was filmed. And one of my homegirls from high school, her name was Cindy Wynn, she used to film all of the things we did during our senior year. Like she made a whole YouTube like series about like all the fun events and stuff that we did. So you could actually go to my YouTube channel, just put in Ernest Knows, whatever, and you will see videos that are like 10, 11, 12-year-old videos of me in talent shows, me, with my best friend. Like I keep people around, so you could just go see, but like, and you can also see my little brother who was like super, super young then. He was at that point, he was He was born in 2003. It was 2010 whenever he was like 6 years. He was like 6 years old at that time when that video was made. It was a video I did on affirmative action, like a parody. But it's all on the website, not website, the YouTube channel. So you could just go digging and you'll find some old videos. And I looked very different back then. Just heads up, I looked very different. I was super skinny, which, like, looking back, I'm like, oh my goodness, I wasn't eating. Like I wouldn't. I like myself and I love my body now. But like I just was like, damn, I was like, oh my goodness, what did I eat? I just really was never hungry like that. I mean, I would just eat a little something, but I don't know. I just was not hungry until I got older. Then I was like, food is great and I want to eat. Life. But what's so interesting is that I say all that to say that my experiences with dinner parties, okay, at that birthday party at 18, there was people that was doing a thing called Dine and Dash or Diner Dashers. Yes, they didn't pay the bill. Fortunately, I had good friends that covered whatever those other folks had left off and didn't pay, but it was still a pain in the ass. And then as I got older, and Jamarcus would tell you, like I used to go, we did Beijing when I was in college, we did Pod, we did all these restaurants, and we got more, things got a little bit more like, hey, hold up. We weren't doing prefix then because that just wasn't a thing. We wasn't rich. So we just was like, look, just buy what you pay for. But then you start to get annoyed with the person who buys the salad when everyone else is buying, a steak. It's just weird. As I think once I graduated from college and I started to, grow the fuck up, I guess, get grown or adult, I guess it's called adulting. Then I began to hear about this prefix situation. And I was like, you know what? That's genius. Like, yes, go to a restaurant, tell people up front how much everything costs so they can get a mental in their head about how much their budget is. And also make sure people, are all on the same accord. Like you have to make them commit up front. So that's what I did. I did that as I got older. That was the new mode. Like everybody comes to my parties and I'm like, yo, it's going to be this much. And even I go as far as ensuring that my waiters and servers are tipped. So like what I do is I work with the restaurant. I'll say, hey, look, I got 20 people coming through, which I've had a situation where I had 30 people come through. I was in Chima's like, we need a private room. How much is it per person with the open bar, everything? You need to throw your tax in there, your service fee, throw everything in there and just give me a number that I know that they are paying up front and we're done, right? So they'll come back to me and say, listen, Ernest, everything included, everything situated, we're looking at $85 per person, whatever the number is. There was a time where at a party that was like $85 per person with everything included. And I was like, dope. So when I sent that message to my friend, I said, listen, we are doing this dinner. It is $85 per person included. There is no exceptions. If you're not coming, don't come in here saying, I just want the salad. It is $85 per person to come to this party or whatever the dinner party situation was. I mean, this year I didn't do a dinner party. I just had a sponsored party. So no one paid for anything. But in the past, that was the trend. It was letting people know up front what the situation was. Because you have to remember, some of you all who are older listeners of my podcast, which I love my senior citizens and my semi-senior citizens and my in-between senior citizens. Basically, everybody past 40. I appreciate you all listening. This might to you be like, what are you talking about? People just dropping money. Listen, in my 20s, I'm 30 now. In my 20s, having young friends that are my age. Some of y'all wasn't doing this when y'all was my age. Some of y'all were, but it's weird, being a millennial, a young millennials, and I don't even know if Gen Z is even my brother who's 18, he is a Gen Zer. He is not even looking at restaurant. He don't even know what that means. He just goes, and they still carry cash. But I like I said, these are the routes of adulting. We all have to get there. Sometimes I feel like because of what I do, I have been skewed older. I feel like I have an interesting friend circle where I have friends of mine that are in their 20s or late 20s. And then I also have friends of mine that are past 40. And so it's so interesting because I do appreciate having older friends because they like understand like you're young, you're trying to make your way. Look, I got stacks. They're showing love. They don't make me pay. Thank God for friends over 40 that don't make you pay. But I'm just saying like, but like there's a different dynamic. There is a very different dynamic, and I like being the young bull in my circles of older friends because they, they one treat me as an adult, but at the same time if they want to go out and be super, super ratchet with their spending or go somewhere really over the top, they're not looking at me like, oh yeah, he can hang. Because you all got houses and mortgages paid off. You all got insurance policy. Listen, I'm trying to get there. But at the same time though, I have leaned more to my older friends because I do feel like taste wise, we do a little bit more. Not no shade to my younger friends in their 20s. Like, of course, we have good times too. But I feel like in those situations, I'm the shepherd, and in this situation, I'm the follower. And there's a different dynamic. I love this podcast because, like, I can't say this anywhere else, and it won't make sense anywhere else. But like, I just definitely feel like there's a different dynamic. Get you some older friends. One, because they lived through experiences, and if you could get relationships with people that are older, it's good because it's not just mentorship in a way, because I think it's you can offer value in things to them because you do have something of value. Everyone has something of value. But I think it's important because sometimes there's just certain life experiences and things that you're thinking to yourself, oh, I think I'm the only person who has dealt with this, and there's things that they can tell you or they can see from a distance. And I just really value those relationships. I value all my relationships, but I think specifically as I've gotten into now 30, there's just certain conversations and experiences I'm seeing in my life and in professional spaces that it's like, I want to talk to somebody who's been there. I want to talk to somebody who's paid some taxes, who's got an LLC, had a business, this is just a different perspective. But I say all to say that I had to make sure with my mom, I was like, Mom, you can go to Vegas and you can do whatever you want, but you got 12 people. We gotta, So I got prefix menus. All of my prefix menus in Vegas, y'all should be proud of me. I got all of them under $135 per person. And that includes tax, tip, gratuity, 3-course meals at nice restaurants. I was able to get prefix menus that included everything for under $135. Each of these dinners we're going to, all of them are under $135 in motherfucking Vegas with private tables and situations, okay? Yes, I hustled. Okay, I worked to get that because some of y'all might think that's too high. But for my folks that travel and go out, it is not easy to try to corral a group around a consensus around pricing. That happened, and then we're going to the Eddie Griffin experience. He's a comedian, a beloved Black comedian who's funny. He has a mini doc or some silly comedy special he had many years ago called Dysfunctional Family. And I remember being little and just losing my mind, cracking up on how silly that special is. He's very funny. He's in Vegas. No, we're not going to see Adele. I don't even think Adele is in town yet. Usher, I think, has just left the building. I'm not seeing Katy Perry. Like, I'm just not going to do that. There was a Michael Jackson Cirque du Soleil, but listen, that's all I got to say. And I miss Celine Dion, man. But see, everybody, this is not my party. Let me just clarify. This is not my party. Man. What if we would have saw Britney when Britney was there? Just thoughts. But anywho, I'm excited about the restaurants we're going to. I'm excited about experimenting. There's so many great places. Jose Andres, Wolfgang Puck, Hell's Kitchen, a couple other cool restaurants, some cool brunch spots we found in Old Vegas that is super fun. I must say, they got a really good bottomless situation going on in some of these Vegas spots. These brunch situations are more affordable and also surprisingly bottomless, like in a way that I need Philly to step their game up when it comes to that. But I always say all the Capricorns in my life that have birthdays in January, happy birthday Dr. Gia, one of my faves, George, who's in my wedding. Happy birthday to my mother, who is just all things fabulous. The reason why I have this good skin, to be honest. My beloved bestie, who I've been friends with for over 10 years, Amanda Parks, also, she was my maiden of honor in my wedding. Her birthday's like gonna be sometime next week. So all these birthdays are all around the same time. So I'm just gonna shout y'all all out, all these Capricorns, okay? Like all of you all, like Mary J. Blige. We don't talk about R. Kelly, we ignore R. Kelly, but like all the great Capricorns are celebrating. I have recently had a influx of Capricorns in my life, but let me tell you, the Aquariuses. I have a lot of Sagittariuses and Aquariuses. I have a lot of winter birthdays, like that just hit, like December, January, February. Like y'all some cold motherfuckers. Like clearly that's the group, the cold core. So we gonna see what it's given. But I'm excited. And I've, like I said, I went to New York early this week. I was doing filming for some project. Stay tuned on that. But I've been traveling, but I've been masking up. I've been fortunate enough to have a breakthrough case. That is a wooden table I'm knocking on, okay? I've definitely been, doing a damn thing. Like I double mask. So what I do is I get my, K95 or KN95 mask, which is Amazon is selling them, but you have to make sure you're not getting bootleg versions. There's articles out that will explain the difference between a real one and a counterfeit one. Please read that before you order, because I have had to do that. I have to really, read up on the mask, because people are just selling like, firecrackers again. Which made me also, which made me think about the fact that like there was this weird time in the fall, like I want to say early fall, late summer, where a lot of people, companies were selling these really good masks and stuff, and we were starting to get lax a little bit. Some of us were getting a little lax. I ain't gonna hold you. I went back to just wearing surgical masks, when Delta had went down. And I say Omicron, let me be clear, it's not as, it's very contagious, but it's milder in symptoms compared to Delta, which is a good thing. But that being said, I just was thinking, I can wear surgical masks. I'm fully vaxxed. I was feeling good. Shit, when Omicron hit and I just start, when Lupita Nyong'o, who is an incredible Oscar-winning actress, who is beautiful and gorgeous, and like, I know she's super like, if she's getting Omicron, okay, and getting breakthrough cases, like, I'm like, okay, it's time to double up again. So what I do is I talk to a doctor who told me she says, if you're going to do double masking, you got to be strategic with this. You cannot double mask with two surgical masks. That just does not make any sense. They say that does nothing to actually tighten it. It's actually worse. Cloth masks, people are really like not feeling cloth masks, which I get, because they're saying, like when I was looking at a chart, they're saying that is one of the like next to not wearing a mask, that is the weakest defense next to not wearing a mask at all. What people are recommending is you get the surgical mask, you put that on first, then you put the cloth mask over it. And so that double masking is good. That's a nice barrier. I use the KN95 masks, which are really super safe on their own. But just because I don't even want things on the damn mask itself, they say you could put a surgical mask on top of that. So that's what I've been doing. I've been wearing the KN95, and then I put a surgical mask on top of it just as a shield to just block any type of particles on the actual mask itself. I don't even want anything on the mask. So the surgical mask is just that cute little like cover screen on it. Okay, so that's been my practice. I had accidentally did it on my Instagram where I had did the surgical mask, then the N95. You're supposed to do it the other way. So for those who saw that video, reverse it. But all that being said, going to Vegas, coming back COVID-free, and just really seeing how some of these restaurants and folks are carrying right now. There's a lot of different things going on, during this time. School closings, people mad at the school district for closing. There's been some updates in the COVID-19 vaccination policy, which basically, to be very clear, the policy change is basically if this is for restaurants, really commercial properties in Philadelphia. The policy specifically is that from now until January 17th, there is a vaccination mandate. You must provide proof of vaccination or a negative test. By January 17th, there's no negative test. Personally, I don't understand why we're doing negative tests. I just don't understand why that is still an option. I just feel like you should just go straight into the thing. Like all this, because to be honest, I said this in a previous podcast last season, that when they tell people, can they bring a negative test, that means that the person is unvaccinated. And they're saying within 24 hours, okay. But like, for starters, with tests being, if I was somebody who wanted to go and experience Restaurant Week, at this point, unless you like have a severe health issue that prevents you from getting the vaccine, which is very small, very small population of people, right? All these bullshit excuses, shut the fuck up. Like, I'm sorry, I just cannot say this any classier, because there's just people just playing with their health, like just being stupid, like just being completely ignorant. I just hate the dumb folks out here who just say stupid shit. Dumbasses, idiots. And I'm saying this as an insult. I'm not saying this because I empathize with dumbness, but I just have to say it. Like, that are like, oh, I can't get that vaccine. I don't know. Listen, you've been getting vaccines your entire life. Pipe down. You would have been able to go to school when you was young without vaccination. Shut up. Like, everyone's been getting vaccinations. This is a first world country. Okay? And one of the ways that we are defined as access to care and health. Now, trust me, the healthcare system in this country is oppressive and problematic. But the access to health, right? The fact that you could get a vaccination and you're choosing not to is a testament to what it feels like to live in a developed country. Okay? Because there are third world countries across the globe that do not have access to vaccinations. There are people who haven't even entertained the conversation of boosters, let alone getting their children vaccinated. And you're over here acting like, this, like, just such an American thing. It really is. It really is an American thing to be able to be like, no, I don't want something that like the rest of the world like is like dying to get that's not developed. Like, fuck out of here. Like, it's the dumbest shit ever. It's like we're so drunk off of access, privilege, and opportunity that we're literally able to just be like, fuck these things because, they don't serve our interests. I mean, I guess that's what democracy is. So stupid. Like, I just look at some of the things that I've heard people continue to say, And at this point, I'm childish. I'm sorry. I just get ignorant with people. I become an asshole. I'm not lying to you. Like, when I hear some of this stuff, like I was at the barbershop the other day, and this guy was like, they forced me to get the vaccine in my job. I didn't want it though. I'm like, you know what? Maybe you, woo, I was very vulgar, y'all. Just letting you know what I said. I was talking out of turn, but I was over it. This man was just completely bitching for like 30 minutes about how he was forced to get a vaccination, y'all. And I'm sitting here like, we're in the midst of a surge and you're complaining about being fully vaccinated. He's like, this is my job. They forcing me to get this vaccination. You know what I'm saying? Like, like my life doesn't matter. Like I don't have no personal rights and da 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 da. And I said to him, you know what? The way that you're showing your ass right now, honestly, I wish you did get vaccinated. And you know what? Because and if Omicron would have took you, listen, that would have been your right. And guess what? It would have probably been a better day today than hearing you bitch for like 30 minutes. I was so over it. I was just over it. Like, you're just whining like a fucking 5-year-old. There are people right now who are I'm thinking globally, that would die. That are dying, literally, without access to a vaccine. This country is having to negotiate with other countries or providing resources to them to stay alive, to stay healthy. And you're sitting around here complaining about your body, your choice. Man, get out of here. Like, can we replace this motherfucker and send them to that country and take whoever people really want vaccinations and replace? Can we do like an exchange? Like, can we just like exchange the people who don't want vaccinations with the people who do in other countries? Like, that to me would be the best amnesty program, like providing asylum for folks who are in countries that are that are struggling with this. Like let's do a replacement. Let's do a real massive replacement, so you can be somewhere and not have to worry about vaccinations because there's no vaccinations for you there. Like just be there, and then you can do whatever you want. Stupid. I just this really gets under my skin, y'all. This is one of the top 5 things that annoys me with people today. Is this vaccination conversation is stupid. Period. It's stupid. What are we doing? So there's the policy, there's breakthroughs, the schools are closing. There was a funny thing that a friend said to me was like how there are parents who don't want their kids to be vaccinated, but they got vaccinated. I digress. So tragedy has definitely hit, or definitely have hit in Philadelphia and across the country. We've lost 2 legends in their 90s. Betty White passed away at 99 on New Year's Eve, who, she's a multi-Emmy award winning actress, cultural icon figure. She was about to be 100 years old and like literally she's going to be 100 in like 2 weeks, or it would have been 100 in 2 weeks. She died in her sleep, natural causes. And Sidney Poitier just passed away this week, 94. First Black actor to win the Academy Award for Best Actor for Liz in the Field, which is an iconic film. He had been nominated, previously. His work is iconic. There's no way to describe it. He is a Hollywood legend at a time where that wasn't a thing for Black actors in Hollywood. He's from the Bahamas. He's actually Sir Sidney Poitier, which I want to make sure I say properly. He's a legend, and he's inspired the actors we are looking up to today. There would be no Denzel without Sidney Poitier, and Denzel even knows that. He even says that. Like, it's 20 years ago he received now it's going to be 21 years this is the year. 20 years ago this year he received a Lifetime Achievement Award from the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences, and that was the year where Denzel won for Training Day and became the second Black actor in history to win after Poitier for Best Actor for his role in Training Day. I looked at that clip before doing this podcast. You could go on YouTube. It is Denzel Washington wins Best Actor. First of all, that's the same year Halle Berry won it when she became the first Black actress to ever win. It still is the only Black woman to ever win a leading actress Oscar. Leading, right? There's been plenty of Black women who've won the Oscar for Best Supporting Actress, but Best Leading Actress, Halle Berry is still the only one. So that year, Denzel and Halle Berry won both, which was epic. And Sidney Poitier won the Lifetime Achievement Award. So there's this, when you see the one, you should see the Halle Berry clip, because every time I see it, it makes me cry. Like, I always get filled with joy as if we were back in 2002. But those were different days. And it's just interesting. Just shout out to Halle Berry that she is still killing it 20 years later. She's still killing it. Denzel too. Denzel might get his 10th or 11th Oscar nomination for The Tragedy of Macbeth, which is coming out next week. I'm just saying, they don't make Hollywood stars like they used to. The Hollywood stars I grew up looking up to are still out here. Julia Roberts is still out here. Okay? Kate Blanchett is still out here. Leonardo DiCaprio is still out here. I don't know what the kids are looking at now, but they're not the same. Your Hollywood stars are not the same. Anyway. Well, when Denzel accepts, he talks about 2 birds in one night. He's been chasing up after Sidney Poitier. He lifts his Oscar in the air, and Sidney has his Oscar from the balcony, and they're both looking at each other, having an exchange. It is beautiful. I will tell you, watch it. You'll melt now watching it. It's just such a beautiful cross-generational moment, and it's very rare to see those things happen, especially for Black people in industries. So whenever those moments do happen, it's just very... It's just a touching thing. So I would encourage you to look at some of his great films. There'll be a lot of people talking about his memory. And honestly, I'm not sad. It's interesting. Everybody's been, it's been like all these emotions about, oh, oh, I'm sad. But I'm like, but honestly, like, no, they've lived long lives. 94 is a long time. 99, like, these people have lived long, prosperous, healthy, successful lives with their dignity. Like, no one out here is hating on Sidney Poitier. No one's out here hating on Betty White. Who's fucking with them? Like, who's hating on them, right? Like, they are like beloved, icons. And it's everyone's gonna have their day. The fact that they had their day so much later, like they've had so much time, books and reflections, and it's just, and it's so interesting because I literally was thinking about Sidney Poitier like the other day. Like I was like, when like other major stars pass away, you start to think to yourself, okay, who's out here? Like I was always thinking about Cecily Tyson, but Cecily died in her 90s. Like these people lived long lives, y'all. Like we shouldn't be like mourning and sad. It wasn't like they tragically died or were murdered or fell out. These are like this is life. And I don't know. I just I would aspire to live as long as that, right? Like I like those are goals, and hopefully the environment is still intact. Hopefully, democracy gets its shit together. Like, but just they've lived long lives, and so I'm celebrating their legacy in the work that they've done, and we all should as well. Something very, very tragic in Philadelphia that actually was something that was completely preventable. There was a big fire, of course, in a row home that killed 13 people and 8 children died. What we're hearing now is that a 5-year-old who lived in the house, I think, told authorities that he played with a lighter that hit the tree, that hit a Christmas tree, and that prompted the fire that led to the deaths. It's tragic. It's sad. It's just so much. And there's been a lot of conversations, because it was a public assistance, type of housing. And there was a lot of politics and people projecting those politics at the moment. But now we find that the actual cause was a kid who was in the house that, potential cause was a kid in the house that lit a Christmas tree. That's right now the presumption. Authorities have not yet confirmed the official cause, but that's been the story that has been published in the credible media, that at least there is some plausible explanation for the massive fire. And Christmas trees and fires have been happening, across the country forever. But this one has been one of the most fatal fires in Philadelphia's history, in recent history. Like we haven't seen anything like this before. It definitely is one of the darkest days in Philadelphia. Like, well, this will be something that when you look at the timeline, you're going to remember move, but you're also going to remember this. So this is a moment. But, there's been a lot of support for the families. On my Instagram, I shared a GoFundMe link in my story. There is a legitimate GoFundMe out. They've raised, oh my goodness, thousands upon thousands of dollars. I think they've done surpassed like $200,000 in support for those families. I really need y'all to, take a moment and reflect and just be present. Be present, and just be present and really support people at this time. There's a lot of scammery going on. There were people, I was hearing reports of people so the funeral expenses for 12 lost in PA house fire is what the GoFundMe account is. Andrea Bronson is the one organizing the fundraiser. This is a legitimate fundraiser to, support these families that passed away on Wednesday, January 5th. And so they're raising the money for the families. And it's, the 12 lost to PA fire. They have now increased the goal to $300,000. This year was $100,000. They've raised $239,000 as of this, but it's increasing every minute by minute. So they're raising good money, and this is time for Philadelphians to come out and support. Like, we saw this happen. This was none of these individuals' fault. They need to support, and These are Black and brown families that are being largely impacted by this, who've lost these lives. Um, I've seen Philadelphians support some of the most stupidest, smallest, insignificant causes that have nothing to do with actual people. This is something that requires us to go all the way. Like, we need to show up for them. So please check out that GoFundMe. It's called Funeral Expenses for 12 Lost in PA House Fire. Andrea Bronson is the one who's organizing the fundraiser. Anybody else that's doing those little fundraisers, I can't speak to those. I don't know if they're legit, but the one I shared on my Instagram story and the one that I will continue to share, but the one that is on GoFundMe that has not been stopped, has not been shut down, because there are disgusting people out here that have been trying to, grift. And we know about the grifters. Grifters are no strangers as topics on Ernestly Speaking. But that is just, that's ridiculous. But, So, political predictions and conversations. This week has been a massive, like, for all of my political hits and people who've just been following my podcast to get the updates on politics, this is a big week in Philadelphia politics, y'all. This is a big week in Pennsylvania politics, national politics, as far as, like, I know people like talk about national politics all day. I'm getting bored, y'all, with national politics. I mean, I'm getting a little bored. Like, the midterms are going to pop off later this year, so I mean, the primaries and those generals, I'll talk about those midterms then, but national politics is just becoming so predictable. Like, at this point, like, Joe Biden and Kamala Harris need to figure out, as president and VP, respectfully, what they're going to do. Because people in Georgia, Atlanta, Georgia, are telling them, do not come unless you got a voting plan to pass that voting bill. Like, I don't want to hear anything else. Don't come over here. And I really feel the same way. Like, if y'all don't have any, like, plans to address the stuff that people actually want, let people know. Like, that was cute if they moved the student loan debt situation till May. That was cute, but that still doesn't eliminate college debt for my friends who have to still pay those loans. Like, this is ridiculous. I was telling someone the other day that, I'm not saying I blame Obama. I don't. Mostly. I just think if we was going to have all this shit, Obama should do whatever the fuck he wanted to do. What I mean by that is that the Democrats should do whatever they want to do with the power they have. That's the issue I have with Democrats. Democrats get the power and they still somehow get their ass whooped. How is that possible? How is that possible that you control the Senate? You got snakes in your own fucking backyard? Like Joe Manchin? Like, what are y'all doing? Like, it's just because y'all backing these moderates. Put some fucking radical ass Democrats in there. Put some disobedient, defiant Democrats that are like actually out here trying to shake the table, that are progressive. Because I promise you, when it's time to vote on the floor, they're going to vote the right way. You all over here playing these dumbass games. This is getting real tired. Because when Republicans get information, and I'm not happy about them. I'm just saying that their mode, their allegiance to each other needs to have the same allegiance the Democratic Party have in getting shit the fuck done. Republicans get things done for the worst, but they get things done because they are very clear that they have to, get together. That's why I gotta say, look at how they did Liz Cheney. Liz Cheney is the Joe Manchin of the Republicans. And you saw how they did her. They said, fuck you, we're not talking to you. We're going to cancel you. You're losing your seats. We're voting you out. You better watch your ass, honey. We're not going to keep your seat. Liz Cheney got to look around her, but look behind her back in the Republican Party. These people with Joe Manchin, they're over here having conversations, bringing him to the White House, trying to sway him. He is enjoying that flex. This mediocre-ass white man is enjoying this flex right now. He's enjoying the fact that in a time where we are supposed to be trying to prioritize black women and the political party, trying to censor newer voices, his old crusty ass is getting all of the headlines and attention. He is living in it. He's relishing in it. And it's because the Democrats won't just say, fuck you. We know we're not about to sit up and talk to you. We're running someone against that ass. Get ready to give up your seat. It's going down. Like, maybe we could do an exchange. I'm not saying we need to replace Liz Cheney with Joe Manchin. Like, but we need to just go ahead. He belongs to the Republican streets. Joe Manchin belongs to the Republican streets. Take your ass over there. See, this is the kind of stuff I'm saying. Like, people not vote for voting rights. Like, people's lives are being impacted. Like, it's time to start getting serious. It's time to get serious. It's been overdue, but it's time to get serious. It's too much. National politics is just so fucking like just fractured, and I'm tired of both of them. Honestly, everybody's Republicans this, Republicans and Democrats both suck nationally right now. They both do. They both do. So let's talk about local politics because I'm more excited about the drama happening right now that I've been waiting for. That I am more engrossed in my own backyard politics than with national. And to be honest, all politics are local, but listen to a pro. So let's just get into what's been going on. So I don't know where to start. I think the theme of this conversation is the tale of two gays and how both of them are going to lose big in the primaries in May. So let's start with the lowest hanging fruit. Brian Sims. He's a state rep right now. He's not running for re-election. His district is basically Grays Ferry and the neighborhood in Center City. He is the 182nd legislative rep for the PA House Democrats. That's his position. Okay, he has been in that seat since 2012, so it's been about 10 years. He's been in the mix. He's not running for re-election for state reps. State reps have 2-year terms. So he has served many, many terms. He's had a nice little chunk of time. He's not running for re-election because he's running for lieutenant governor. Because right now the gubernatorial race is taking off. We're going to have a new governor, y'all. Josh Shapiro is running for governor, who is our current AG, our attorney general. He is running for governor, and Brian Sims is running for lieutenant governor. Now, there used to be a time where we saw with Mike Stack and all this shit. Like right now, our current lieutenant governor is John Fetterman, who is now running for the U.S. Senate. Of course, Governor Wolf is our current governor. These are Democrats. Now, normally, in other elections, right, when you think lieutenant governor, you think governor, lieutenant governor, like VP president on the same ticket. Well, that's not how it works in Pennsylvania, at least. When you vote for lieutenant governor separate. There's no ticket like the way that Kamala Harris, like Biden and Kamala are like together. Like they're not, there's a difference with the governor and the lieutenant governor. They are individuals. So when you go to the polls, you can say, I vote for Josh Shapiro and I got my own pick of lieutenants. It's a different type of situation. As far as Democrats go, I don't think there's really any serious governor gubernatorial candidates going against Josh Shapiro. Like Josh Shapiro is like the party pick. Like there ain't nobody fucking with Josh Shapiro and his war chest of money and his support. Like nobody wants that work. I don't know if there's anybody that's running for governor that's a Democrat. I know there's some Republicans trying to line up for it, but I don't really know if there's any other Democrats. If they were smart, they would just go ahead and let Josh take it. Like just go ahead. But at this point though, the lieutenant governor's race, it was just really Brian Sims as the main Democrat running for lieutenant governor, which is so stupid because this man has no real experience. When I mean real experience, this man is a clown. He has gotten more fame off of the fact that he is a state rep than actually the work he's done as a state rep. He basically has been trash to me forever. You can Google my name and his name on Google and you'll find tons of articles I've written about the dumb shit he's done over the past several years. Like he's just trash to me. And also he's just not a good state rep. And every time he's ran, he's always been close to losing. He's always had challengers. Like people really don't see it for him. And for good reasons, because his antics are just out of this world. He's attention seeking. He has used his identity politics to try to justify his fuckery. He is gay, but he's also a white gay man who did not speak out against racism that was happening to black gay people in the neighborhood until after there took reports and investigations. He didn't really take a stance because he was too busy getting money, having his fundraisers at some of those bars accused of racism. Like he's trash. This is a pathetic state rep. He's garbage. I have nothing nice to say about him. And he's running for lieutenant governor. He's going to lose, and he's going to lose all his political power because he's not running for state rep, and he's going to lose as lieutenant governor. So Brian Sims will not be an elected official at the end of this year. I am happy that that's happening. I'm happy that this loser is losing. So, who is the person that's going against him is a guy named Austin Davis. He's a black man that's from Pittsburgh that has served as a state rep. He is running against Brian. He announced his candidacy this week. if you listen to the podcast, remember I told you this was coming. Well, it's official. Austin Davis is running against Brian Sims for lieutenant governor in the primaries. Now, mind you, both of these men may not win because Republicans, that people are scared a Republican governor might come and a Republican lieutenant governor. We don't know. But listen, anything is possible. And so what's making this even more exciting is that Josh Shapiro is basically running on a ticket with Austin Davis. Even though on the ballot it won't be both tickets, they're running together as a pair. And so when you see them, it's Shapiro Davis. So Shapiro is backing Austin Davis as the person he would like to see as his lieutenant governor if he becomes the governor. And they're not on a ticket, like an actual ticket where you have to vote once, because remember what I just said earlier. But it's interesting because now what's going to happen is that when voters go to the polls, they're going to be like, Shapiro, Austin Davis, vote for both of them. They're going to win the primary, y'all. I really think they're going to win the Democratic primary because Brian does not have statewide appeal. He just doesn't have it. And such a smart move by Josh Shapiro because I am not the craziest about Josh Shapiro. I don't dislike him, but I just have had my about him because I just find him just a little too politically astute and ambitious to the point where I question how genuine he is. But I guess I question how genuine a lot of politicians are. But I just kind of feel like a lot of his actions have always been geared to this moment. Like everyone tells me this man wants to be the president of the United States. I just feel like he just has that. I mean, and I guess a little ambition ain't wrong, but I guess it just seems to me it's just a little too calculated. But with Austin Davis now, in the mix, I am more open to voting for him because I recognize that the other alternative is a trash-ass Republican. But we got a lot of moderates in Philadelphia coming through. It's kind of a little boring on that sense. But it is what it is. There you have it. So that's happening on one side. Now to the other game. The other game. Malcolm Kenyatta is still running for U.S. Senate. He is a one-term state rep who's let me clarify, who's completed a full one term. Let me make it clear. He's only completed one full term. He's on his second term right now, but he's only completed one full term, only 2 years, or I guess 2.5 years now, 3 years of his, state repness. He's running for Senate. This is something we've known for a minute now. The money has not been coming fast enough. Fetterman is in this race. Someone named Val Kush, I believe, is also running. But she's not really gaining any steam. She's got more money than Malcolm though. But she's not raising any much steam. I don't know why she's running still. The Republicans got Dr. Oz and other crazies running. But when I look at this Democratic slate, Malcolm is still running, but Fetterman is the man to beat. Over $10 million. He's got donors from every district in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. He's killing it. He as a non-incumbent, he is the highest raising Senate candidate that is not an incumbent. He's got the most money. Personally, I'm leaning towards him, y'all, for various reasons. I won't get into it, but I just feel like if somebody's working this damn hard and it seems to be the sway, he's up 25 points. Why are you defying that? I just feel like that's why Democrats sometimes lose big often because they try to ignore changing tides. They try to ignore what people are wanting within the party. They want Fetterman. That's what it's looking like. They want Fetterman. And I'm not a fan of the GOP at all. Y'all know this. But when Trump ran, they didn't like Trump, but they realized people want Trump. They got to go with what their party is going for. I just feel like with Fetterman, that's what's happening. The people want Fetterman. The numbers are saying Fetterman. Why can't the party come together and just back Fetterman? Why can't the party just sit down and say, you know what, Fetterman, what's up? Because Fetterman is a threat to them. Fetterman comes with that Bernie Sanders energy, except he's going to win the primary. I think Fetterman's going to win the primary. I still think so. I mean, things could change in a moment. You know, scandal, something could happen, right? But I just kind of feel like, you know, I don't know. I just think Fetterman is just the more viable candidate, and I'm just not about to sit up here and be force fed something else. This reminds me of 2016 when I felt like they were trying to force feed Hillary, and we never really got to figure out how people really felt until we saw what happened in 2016 at the presidential election. But I remember the primaries, I was like wondering, like, you know, if Bernie really had a fair shot in 2016, would we have seen a more contested race? They really did not want to see a contested, fractured party. Well, get behind a person you think that's gonna win. Now, Hillary was more viable, essentially, but it's still a question mark that's out there. We don't know about 2016. 2016 was weird. But looking at where we are now in 2021, I just feel like it's obvious that the people want Fetterman across the state. And trying to force feed someone else is just going to get us backwards. But let me tell you who they're trying to force feed. They're not trying to force feed Malcolm Gallagher. I think the unions, the big major institutions, there's a couple unions maybe, right? But the big daddies, the big names, okay, they're backing Connor Lamb. Connor Lamb is a U.S. congressman. He is, you know, currently in his term. He is running for Senate because he is really the party's moderate pick. He is their safe pick. He's an establishment safe pick. They want to push Connor. He's from Western PA. He's a white guy, right? He doesn't look like Fetterman. He's a different type of white guy, but they're in the same, you know, boat, I suppose. And it's the battle of the white guys, the white boys. I mean, because, you know, Sharif Street's not running for Senate. So there's no other option left. Oh, but there's Malcolm, right? But Malcolm is I think from what I've heard from my sources that are in the unions, the political circles, they don't take Malcolm seriously as a candidate. They think that this is more of a vanity fair for him in the sense that they feel like he's getting more visibility, attention running, and that this is really a visibility campaign, a self-promotion campaign, rather than an actual political campaign where he's actually trying to do something. I mean, there's just no explanation or rationale he's been giving people around why they should support him, other than he's black and he's young and he's gay. He's been using identity politics. And as a black gay man, I'm here to tell this other black gay man, sit the fuck down. Okay, let's talk to each other real quick. Let me get you together real quick. As somebody who has multiple identities, just like this man, that can't be the only thing you're bringing to the table. You know, I'm bringing to the table, yes, my identity. Yes, that's very true. That's very valid. But I'm also bringing to the table is actual experience, loyalty, and some real respect. I think the issue that he has had is that when you're talking about the questions around loyalty, he wasn't loyal to State Senator Sharif Street. He knew Sharif Street was trying to run for Senate. He ran before him. You backstabber. Like, what you doing? That was the first violation. Second violation is, dude, you got the Working Families Party backing you. Now, you're supposed to be this big old Biden stumper, but then you also in bed with these progressives that are like a third party. Make it make sense. How you get it back by the Working Families Party, but in your feelings that the Democratic Party not showing up? See, let me tell you how he played his hand in that situation, why he's fucking up. I heard from close sources that the Democratic State Committee, which is basically the Democratic State Committee is like the Democratic State Party, right? They have delegates, they have members. They are actually going to vote this month to support one of these candidates in this race. And whoever the party decides to back, that's where they're pushing all the Democrats to go in favor for. The party does not want Fetterman. They're not going to endorse Fetterman. It's obvious that they're trying to skew to Connor Lamb. The conversation is not Fetterman right now. Even though Fetterman is like out there, right? And I really think Fetterman's going to win the primary, y'all. And I'm sorry, I'm going to vote for Fetterman. Connor Lamb Chop, Connor Lamb Chop, bless his heart. I mean, he's a congressman. He's boring. Moderate. Like, no, not exciting. You got to fight the energy with the energy. Fetterman looked like the type of dude that's like that Undertaker that will wrestle and choke slam somebody in these polls. He looks like he can step up to a Republican I can see white Republicans. They might sway over for Fetterman, and if not, he's got the ability to get those independents to show up for him. He's got a different type of pull. And at the end of the motherfucking day, if he wins the Democratic nomination, let's be clear. If he wins the Democratic nomination, y'all know what's going down. Y'all know what's going down if he wins. Y'all know the party's got to back him. And y'all better get ready to kiss his ass. They don't want to, though, because they've been hating. They hate to see a winner win. They hate to see a winner win. I really do think that he is just the one they're trying to avoid. But you can't avoid that money. And why put all that money in somebody no one? Y'all gotta buy with him. With Fetterman's grassroots support is organic. Like, he has a real grassroots movement going for him. It really does remind me of Bernie Sanders. With these other candidates, they're going to have to do all kind of weird money and corporate money and side money to try to stay relevant, to put them in our face. Like, they're going to have to market this moderate to us. I'm not here for it, y'all. I'm not crazy about it. But I do find it funny. Okay, what I will be entertained by is the fact that they're doing this pitting against Connor and Malcolm, because Fetterman's somewhere at the bank cashing them, depositing those donor checks. And these two over here having a little cat fight. Malcolm, let it go, honey. Let it go, baby. Let it go. Let it go. It's not happening. It's not happening. And you have to drop out, because what you're going to do is you're going to fuck this up for everybody. You're going to fuck this up for your party. And by you staying in this race, they're going to be done with you. And if you don't be careful, they're going to run somebody against your ass for that state rep seat. He can lose it all, to be honest. He can lose it all. I've seen it happen to people. I've seen people get greedy and run for seats and run for stuff and lose everything. There was a guy who I covered, and I know very well. His name is Alex Deering. He actually ran against Malcolm Kenyatta when Malcolm first ran for state rep. And it was a contentious race. We all knew Malcolm was going to win because Malcolm's cousin had the seat before him. Curtis Thomas had the seat before Malcolm. That was his cousin. They're related. Nepotism. You know how it goes. So North Philly, went behind Malcolm. But Alex Deering ran against him, and Alex had a committee seat. Do you know that after it was all said and done, not only did he lose his committee seat, he also lost that race for state rep. He lost everything. And he was working in a warehouse in Zara. That's how the Democratic Party would do you. One moment you have fundraisers living your best life. The next moment you're in a warehouse in Zara, folding shirts and packing boxes. Like, that shit is wild. That's how ruthless this fucking political scene is in Pennsylvania and in Philly. Do not fuck with the establishment if you don't have the money, the coins, and the prestige. It's just real. Like, Fetterman is giving a big middle finger to them because he's going to do what he's going to do. Malcolm, you don't have a war chest, sweetie. You don't have a war chest. You're robbing Peter to pay Paul. I'm hearing that your staff ain't doing too good. People not getting checks, not really getting no money coming in. It's a mess. You got a white woman for Working Families Party running your campaign. People been leaving. You've been calling up ward leaders trying to get people to support you. They giving you they ass to kiss. It's not looking good. Hang it up. Those trips with Lee Daniels in LA is not helping. Them Gloria Steinem selfies are not helping you. Using your fiance as a prop to try to push your election is cute. And maybe the only thing that's got people somewhat giving a damn about it, but that's not going to help you. It is time to hang it up. Because if he does not hang it up, and this party has to keep on dealing with the politics, it's not going to fare well for him. And the people that's on his team, why y'all got him out here looking raggedy like this? Why y'all out here got him looking like he got a shot? Why y'all out here using bad analogies? One of his supporters was on Facebook comparing him to Barack Obama, saying they said Barack Obama didn't have a chance. I am sorry. But whether or not I like Malcolm Kenyatta or not, that's not the point. But one fact is for certain, you are no Barack Obama. It's just not happening like that. We're just not even going to make those comparisons. First of all, Barack Obama was in the Illinois State Senate. He was in, many elected seats for longer terms and became a U.S. senator and then became the president. Like, what are we doing? Like, experience, dude, come on. This is a national fucking seat. You're representing the state of Pennsylvania, and you cannot represent on race and sexual orientation alone. So cut it out. Cut it out. Cut it out. And this is the thing. The state committee this was supposed to initially, I guess people thought that this was going to be an open primary because, it's open. This seat is open. The Senate seat is open for Toomey. They just thought that there were not going to be a Democratic endorsement for the seat. Let's be clear. That the party was going to let it be an open primary, that just anybody could run, and we was going to make the best man win. Because once the party endorses, right, a candidate, then it gets harder for the other candidates to have a fight, unless you are, again, Fetterman with a bunch of money. Everybody else, that's it. It's a wrap. And so what I'm hearing is at the end of the month, the party is going to officially get the committee together and the committee is going to take a vote. I will tell you, for what I've been hearing, is that Malcolm's team and supporters have been calling even Malcolm has been calling state committee members trying to urge them for his vote, for their endorsement. They're not voting for you. I've talked to several on my own record who've come to me directly and told me that Malcolm has called them and that they're not voting for him. He's also had another guy who's close to him, black man that lives out in the Derby, the other areas. He knows who I'm talking about. It's another Malcolm, but not the same last name, clearly. He's been, calling up and following up with other of these Democratic committee members to try to get them to vote for Malcolm or support Malcolm, or at least entertain Malcolm. They're not having it with him either. They're telling him no. Most of these people are not supporting Malcolm. The truth of the matter is that Malcolm fucked up by getting the Working Family Party's support. They hate the Working Families Party. The Democratic Party find him as a nuisance. Okay, look and read the room. There are a lot of state rep seats that are getting challengers that are either backed by Working Family, Reclaim, anybody else. If you're affiliated with those groups right now and you're trying to run for these seats, the party is not about to sit up and back you or endorse you with those politics unless you're an incumbent. But they're not about to support fresh blood coming in the gate with that. And so with a U.S. Senate race that is this big, they have to get a candidate that I think they feel like is the identity of the party. Conor Lamb is the closest to the traditional moderate Democrat that they want, right? That is what they're going for. That is who they're going to push. Will he succeed? Who knows? Right now, I don't think so, but I could be proven wrong. What I know for certain is I don't see it from Malcolm Kenyatta. I don't think anyone does. And I think that the committee, when they make this decision to back Lamb, this race, whoever else is running on the sidelines, this race becomes a race between Fetterman and Lamb. It's going to be between two white men, and we're going to go to the polls, and may the best man win, partner. But I will tell you, it's not going to be him. It's not going to be Malcolm, and we just need to prepare for that. He needs to prepare for that. I'm prepared for it. But it's going to be over very soon. Because at that point, the money, the support, the committee people, here's the thing. They wasn't supporting Malcolm anyway, but they didn't have an excuse. Now that the party will pick and really push Conor Lamb, that is going to be the moment when everybody's going to be like, it is Lamb. They're not going to, they are not, in the Philadelphia County, it's going to go towards Lamb. Western PA, that's going to go to Lamb. Fetterman is going to take the rest of this damn state, I believe. But Philadelphians are going to be geared towards it. You know how I know? Because the Philadelphia Building Trades, okay, that is now led by Ryan Boyer, okay, and Ryan Boyer is a black man. He's endorsing Conor Lamb for U.S. Senate. The Philadelphia Building Trades, which is huge, this is massive, is endorsing Conor Lamb, okay? Conor Lamb is getting that support. Next thing you know, a lot of those establishment Dems are as well. Now, for city council, a lot of black city council people backed Malcolm. They thought it was cute. Well, guess what? When the Democratic committee endorses Lamb, you're going to see some of these people turn real quick. They're not going to push Malcolm like that. See, what the game is, I'm going to tell you what the game is. The game is that in the beginning, they did because Fetterman was the only option. Now that Lamb has been thrown in the race because they do not see Malcolm as viable, they're going to switch up, y'all, because the conversation is going to be Fetterman versus Lamb. So if it's Fetterman versus Lamb, they're going to say, oh, of course I'm going to support Lamb because the party supports him. They're going to back the blue. Same thing in many ways. But that's what they're going to do. They're going to support the Dems. So that's that. That's politics right now. That's where we're at right now. It's going to be a very telling January. It's going to be a very telling couple of months. The primaries are in May. So you know you're going to get all this updated coverage, but I just want y'all to know that's coming into season 2. I'm going to be following this shit till May, to the primaries. I mean, to the very end, though, but really up to the primaries. I love the primaries. To me, in Philadelphia, the primaries are the most exciting thing because we're in a democratic machine. General elections are normally boring unless they're like national. So national general elections are going to be a big deal because of the midterms and Senate races are involved. But honestly, I love May primaries. I love Democratic primaries. They're like my favorite like event of the year. Like they're just so messy, so funny. And like I can't wait to 2023, y'all, because like it's gonna be the mayoral race, and all these dumbass people are gonna run for mayor, and they're gonna only one can win, but we're gonna lose so many people in city council, which I'm excited about. Clean that shit the fuck up. Just exciting. All right, so I gotta give an update to this, even though I just think it's the stupidest thing ever, but I do think this matters, right? This is a great topic, for sure. So it's a lot going on. I would say that one of the things that has really taken off since the pandemic has been this conversation around dating and Hollywood relationships, but really been talking about Khloe, right? Khloe Kardashian and Tristan Thompson. Well, after many weeks of being quiet and suspicious, Tristan Thompson has admitted that he has in fact impregnated that woman who alleged that he was her baby's father while he's been dating with Khloe, and did a whole Instagram story basically, admitting it and apologizing before the world. Let me tell you something. If this is not the most annoying shit, now you understand why I said the Kardashian Jenner gang, it was my runner-up for worst entertainer of the year. Because of the fact that like everything they touch, everything they're involved with is just in some type of crazy, like, can they just go away? First of all, why are we confirming pregnancies on Instagram story? This is the most ghetto shit. The ghetto. Like, this is just, what are we doing? This is just a hot mess. And everyone thinks this shit is the fuck sweet. They think this is cute. They're like, oh yes, that's right, girl. Do you, like, why are we encouraging this? Why are we encouraging this? This is a hot ass mess. I have nothing good to say. But he announced it anyway. He's announced it. And, the internet went wild. All I gotta say on my end is if Khloe might get back with him, and if she do, please, media, stop covering this. Like it's a farce at this point. They're clearly trying to sell something to us. Is it the Hulu shows they got coming up that no one's gonna really watch anymore? Is it what are they pushing? There's some storyline behind this. I don't care anymore. Like there's some celebrity shit that I find very entertaining, and then there's shit that I'm just like, I don't care. I really don't care. Like, there's just stuff that's just like, this doesn't make sense. Like, I am very engrossed in this Nicki Minaj situation with, the woman who's accused Nicki's husband accused Nicki and her husband of intimidating her. She was raped by him. He was convicted many, many years ago, Kenneth Petty. And this woman named Jennifer Huff, she has been, going through the courts trying to really, hit them hard about some of the allegations. Listen, that to me is like, you about that life. She's serious. She's not playing any games. She's not a fucking toy. She really has some real feelings. She really wants y'all to know that her accusations and her concerns are real. Give her her guts. I'm giving her her guts. But I'm not giving Tristan Thompson his guts or Khloe. This is annoying. This is boring. No one cares. Move on. Okay? But just wanted to update you on that. Speaking of things I'm over, but just stupid. It's like, yes, Kanye West has a new girlfriend. And here's the thing. So I heard about this. And this is a thing that is, what concerns me the most about this isn't the situation about the girlfriend, because, like, I don't really care. First of all, can we just say happy birthday to another popular Capricorn? Blue Ivy, Beyonce's daughter, has turned 10 years old. I just want to I just felt like I need to say that randomly because that was important news. She's 10, y'all. She's adorable. She's like the one member of the Carter Knowles family that I actually like completely. Next to Solange. I like Solange too. But the other two just get on my nerves. Just saying that she Blue Ivy is like the most sane, rational person in the entire group. And Solange too. Because she did what Beyonce didn't do to Jay-Z. Which is beat his ass at Elevator for all the cheating he was doing. But I know Beyonce, just saying. But she put in a great album. It was a great album. Lemonade was great. But I digress. Kanye has a new girlfriend. And honestly, I would have not cared about this until I heard the tea that happened. So Julia Fox is this actress. She's a white woman who is dating him. She was in Uncut Gems, whatever like that. Well, she did this photo shoot. She did this photo shoot for interview. She's only went on a couple of dates, and she's got a whole photo shoot spread thing for Interview Magazine. Kanye's in it. It's very creepy. It's weird, and they did a whole spread about it. And I just said to myself, really, magazine? See, I'm all about the free press. I'm all about journalism. I'm all about media. But y'all really out here? This is the type of clout chasing we're doing. So, like, to sell magazines, you all thought that a 2-day situation with a weird photo shoot was what y'all was going to do to try to make news. Oh my God. Ugh. Like, that's what really annoyed me about it. Had he just came out publicly with her, it was whatever. But she says he's been showering her with gifts. They're kind of kindred spirits. She's been really letting people understand what it is. It's been complicated because Kanye's been acting like he's been trying to get back with Kim. Kim and him are really done. Like, they're done. I mean, there's been all these weird stunts, but they seem done. But there's also been an interesting photo shoot that's come out that had Pete Davidson and Julia Fox together before Kim and Kanye dated. But see, that's weird to me because I also think there's a conspiracy theorist to me that think, is this all just another stunt? I can't trust any of these people. But to be honest, the only reason why I was somewhat vestedly shocked or whatever is the fact that an actual magazine publication in the free press decided to give them this stupid ass photo shoot based on how little we know about it. So it's weird. And also, like, I don't have any level of fucks about Julia Fox because, it's obvious that he's trying to turn her into Kim, and she's okay with that because she's here for the ride. She's like, I'm going to go into a dumpster fire, but at least I'm going to be wearing Balenciaga. Like, clearly she's hype about it. I mean, girl, do your thing. The thing is, no one really knew Julia Fox like that before this. So, I mean, the one thing she has achieved is some notoriety. I've never said her name before until today. So that must tell you something right there about how this is working. I can admit that. So, in wrapping up, I've been watching a lot of TV over the past couple of days. Well, I've been writing a lot. And so in between my writing, I've been listening to music. The Weeknd has a new album. I've been going back and listening to my oldies. I'm looking forward to seeing this Adele album. This Adele music video for Oh My God is coming out later next week, I suppose. But I've been really into TV lately again. There's been a new wave of shows. I've been watching Power Book 2, the season 2 of Power Book 2. I've been caught up on it. I just have to tell y'all something. I understand that a lot of people are questioning Mary J. Blige's acting, but she has an Oscar nomination. She has 2 Oscar nominations, one for acting and one for singing, something Beyonce doesn't have yet. And so I just want to say that y'all coming for Mary J. Blige, but she is fun as fuck on this Power Book 2. For people who couldn't get to the first Power, I get it. But the Power Ghost book or whatever, that is so good. I just need y'all to watch that. Like, it's so good. Her acting is, listen, people are like talking about her acting. Listen, I think she's playing the part. She's having fun. She's looking glamorous. I'm entertained. Okay? I'm entertained. I don't know. Listen, every performance is not meant to be Emmy worthy. But this is really good. There's a show, Abbott Elementary. I am loving it. Brand new show. Shirley Ralph's in it. Quenisha, Brunston. A lot of them are just killing it. The actor from Everybody Hates Chris is on the show now, which is awesome. I haven't seen him. First of all, Everybody Hates Chris was such a good show. It was such a good show. It was better than what I ever thought it was going to be. Like, I never thought it was going to be that good. But it had classics. Like, Tyler James Williams was supposed to be Chris Rock at a younger age when Terry Crews was somebody important. Tisha Arnold is still out here killing it. Taquan Richardson was the brother Drew. It's such a good show. Oh, I love that show. But when he's on this show, Abbott Elementary, which is set in Philadelphia, it is set in Philadelphia, which is really cool. I just find him. I just find the show funny. It's just a nice escape from what's out there, and I hope it gets a bunch of nice Emmy nominations for comedy. Shirley Ralph is bringing it. Like, they're all bringing it, and I'm just really happy that Shirley Ralph is like back on like ABC. Like, she's on TV again, like in a big way. Because it's been a moment since we've seen her. Like, I mean, I remember her on Moesha. She's made some cameos and sprinkles in between, but this is something big, and she's so great in it. And the whole cast is great, and this is just a great show. And now that Insecure is out the way, thank God, we can now look at Abbott Elementary, which I just really hope gets. First of all, I think it's going to get a second season. It better get a second season, and it just needs to get Emmys. So far so good. Love the show. Recommend it highly. Okay, my guilty pleasure, y'all. I've been watching Zeus Network. Now, let me tell y'all about this. I've heard about Zeus Network for a minute, but I did some deep dive. Okay? And what I mean by this deep dive, okay, is that the Zeus Network was created like a couple years ago. It's led by influencers. It's Black owned. It's a network that's not on TV. It's a streaming platform, kind of like Disney Plus or Paramount Plus and whatnot. So you can subscribe to it. It's like $60 for an entire year, or maybe $6 an entire year, or $5 a month, like $4.99 a month. So you could choose between. They basically, the concept is interesting. It's owned by influencers, like reality show influencers, like all of your favorite Black and brown reality stars from VH1, from Oxygen, from all these hit shows, Bad Girls Clubs, Love It Hip Hop, all these people. A lot of those people, have, some of them like fall off the show or become fan favorites and become influencers on social media after making appearances on that show. Sometimes we're like, well, where the hell did they go? Now they're no longer on VH1 getting a check from Mona Scott. What happens to them after that? Well, a lot of them have gotten together and now they're making this Zeus Network thing pop. And so there's a lot of good shows on there. Like, I mean, they brought out people I ain't seen in a long time. Like Tiffany Pollard made a cameo appearance on this show called One More Chance, which includes Chance that was on I Love New York. Remember Chance? He has a new show on Zeus Network, and it's like super dope. Jocelyn has Jocelyn Hernandez Cabaret, which is like the big show, the big title show on there. There's ATL Baddies, which is women from Bad Girls Club, which is no longer on Oxygen. All of these people have come on there, and they're making money. They're doing their thing, and I am obsessed. Like, I've been binge watching so much of the shows, catching up, just watching them. I am so the thing about this show, let me tell you about this station. It is uncensored. They do show, there are parts where, there is scenes of nudity. Like, I have seen a couple of titty slips. They completely curse. They don't, there's no beeping. It's so raw. Like, there's no like, beep, beep. It's none of that. Like, like the fights, they fight. There are fights that break out. They don't really block out the fights. I mean, they just go for it. It's very raw, very real, and it's good TV. It's very good TV. In a sense of good TV, in a sense of like it's good messy reality TV. It is like it really is the Disney Plus for messy ratchet reality TV. Like, I have too many fucking subscriptions, y'all. I have Hulu, Disney Plus, HBO Max, Netflix. They said that the whole plan was to have this so you have to pay for cable. So I guess I'm paying more money a month in all these damn subscriptions than I would have if everybody just went on cable. I should just bought a big old premium package where they put all this shit on there. But I actually like the streaming platforms better because I can pause and control and see reruns on my own end. And I also am anti-TV. Y'all know I cut the cord. So everything is going through my laptop, including my actual TV through Xfinity Stream. So I love it. I love it. I love it. I love the fact that they are not working in the same corporate minefield that is the Viacom. No, don't get it twisted. I am watching VH1 Family Reunion right now, Love and Hip Hop Family Reunion. And I'm watching that. But I must say that I would say over the last couple of seasons of Love and Hip Hop, the most recent 2 to 3 seasons, it has been getting a little bit milder. It's been getting a little less ratchet. And to a certain extent, I'm invested in those characters or those people because I've been watching them for like nearly a decade. But I must say that when I go to Zeus, they are bringing the fire. Sometimes a little bit too much fire at times. I must say, like sometimes they're arguing and they like overtalk each other in certain moments. But it's not a dull day watching them. So there are people that was looking at my Instagram story and they were saying, where was I getting those Jocelyn Hernandez clips? That was a reunion of Jocelyn's Cabaret. And I was just watching it and she's just hilarious. Like Jocelyn had that big, huge fight on Love and Hip Hop a couple of years ago. And like everyone thought she was just canceled. She was out of reality TV. We was going to hear from her. Listen, she got a husband that looks good, looks better than Stevie J. He looks good. She looks good. She's like she's doing what she should have did. Like Jocelyn was always like the star of Love and Hip Hop. She made Love and Hip Hop Atlanta really pop. And to see her now have her own like show, her little series, I just feel like it's just a match made in heaven for people who love reality TV. There's a bunch of shows on there. Nally Nunn. I didn't know much about Nally Nunn from Bad Girls Club. And now I do, and I can't take her. I can't stand her. I feel like she's just so unbearable. Just saying. What else did I watch? There's a bunch of shows on there. Oh. I have to say this. There's a show called The Conversation that is on Zeus Network. Let me tell you, this is probably one of the most creative, one of the best damn shows I've seen like in a minute. So what they do is they pair up these like 2 reality stars that you all know if you watch these shows that have had drama or conflict. And they put them in a room and they try to get them to have a conversation and talk it out. Well, as you can imagine, they do everything but talk it out. Well, some of them do talk it out, but some of them don't. But it is highly entertaining to watch. I just love it. I can't. Like I would say, if you were somebody who is questioning, like right now, I didn't do the year subscription because I'm not sure like how much content is going to be regular. But I said, okay, $5 for a month to watch this. Like maybe I'll watch everything and be like over it. But they put like new shows. But it's worth the $5 to just at least see what's about. Like I've been highly entertained. I've got in my life more than one time. And it's so many good shows. It's so addicting. But anyway, that's my hot show. People have been asking about my movie opinions before wrapping this lovely season premiere up. The Power of the Dog. I need you all to watch it. I need you all to watch The Power of the Dog with Benedict Cumberbatch. If you don't get it the first time, watch it again, but it is incredible. The ending is probably one of the best endings I have seen in a movie in a while. Like I watched that. Like the guy who's the supporting actor in that film, you're going to know who I'm talking about. He deserves the Oscar for Best Supporting Actor. He's going to win. I am going to make sure I call my members, my folks in the Academy, tell them to vote for him. He deserves it. He's been winning everything at all these critic circles and film circles. But like, honestly, this actor, I've never seen his, I don't even remember who he is as far as like his other movies he might have been in, but he is killing this film. The Power of the Dog, by the way, is a biblical verse. I don't want to get too much into it because I want you to watch the movie to understand how it all connects. But let me tell you something. Cody Smith McKee, give him his Oscars. Kirsten Dunst, give her Oscar nomination. She deserves it. Benedict Cumberbatch, listen, people are saying he might surprise y'all and win Best Actor. He is definitely giving a very great performance. I still have my bias out for who I think should get Best Actor. I think either Will Smith or Denzel. We can't do anyone else. Okay, let me just put that on the table. But Benedict Cumberbatch, I must say, The Power of the Dog. He was great. And it's directed by a woman, Jane Champion, which for all my film buffs who love her, she directed The Piano with Holly Hunter. Ooh, remember that film? A couple years ago, what, 25 years ago? That movie came out. It was a classic. I think she's gonna get it. I don't know. She should get it. She should win. I think she should win Best Director. This is a bold ass film. She's a legend. Campion. Sorry, I always call her Champion. I don't know why I call her Champion. Campion. Jane Campion. She's a New Zealand director. She's from New Zealand. She's a legend. And a lot of her films, The Piano is going to turn 25 years old next year. She also did Top of the Lake. She wrote Top of the Lake, for those who know that. Bright Star, she was a writer on. She's done some great projects and great work. But The Piano is just chef's kiss. Incredible film. Oh my goodness. Holly Hunter won an Oscar for that. Anna Paquin when she was a little girl won. I didn't watch it then. I was like 2 years old, y'all. But like I'm into film. So like I've seen it many, many years later. But The Power of the Dog is a masterpiece. An instant masterpiece. It's great. It's a Western take on masculinity. It's not what you think it is. Just watch it. Other great movie. Well, before I get into the other great movie you should watch, let me say about a movie that I don't like, and I know some of y'all are like divided on this. Don't Look Up. Please do not look at this. the real name of the movie should be Do Not Look at This. Do not watch this. It was so stupid. It was stupid. Leonardo DiCaprio, Jennifer Lawrence, all these stars, Ariana Grande. In that film, she was looking more white than normal, but she was trying to be herself, I suppose. Tyler Perry's in it. Exactly. Like all of the things that just spells misfortune. It's not good. It's not. It's dumb. Adam McKay, I enjoy his work when he was writing on Succession. He's done some other big movies. Like Vice was fun, The Big Short was a masterpiece. But these films that he's doing, this film, I just could not get with it. It's a critique on, Meryl Streep's in it, and she's fun, right? She's playing like a Trump-like president that's like a hybrid between Hillary and Trump. It's just a disaster of a film. It's one of those films where it's very preachy. It's trying to, I guess, make a point about the environment. But honestly, I was watching let this comment go ahead and hit all these motherfuckers. These characters are unredeemable. I don't care for them. I don't care for this movie. Like, if there's a comment coming for it, just get this over with. Which I don't want to tell the movie, but it's just, I did not like it. I did not like it. Everybody's like, oh, it's real. It's telling y'all something. It's a deeper message. I'm so sorry. It was not a deeper message. It was just something that was very blatantly obvious. And I don't even know who he was trying to attract when he did the film. Like, were you trying to just, give the progressives something to eat up? Because you definitely wasn't trying to lure other folks. I just don't get what the point of the movie was. And, it's really real. Like, a lot of these major movies with all these superstars in it, whenever you have a film with, more than, 4 or 5, big name Oscar winners or names like that, that's when you start to have to raise an eyebrow. Because it looks like it's going to be a disaster. Because you don't have anything else to do. Just saying. But the movie I really, really, really enjoyed, next to, of course, The Power of the Dog, is The Eyes of Tammy Faye. It is on HBO Max. I've been telling people to watch it. The story of Tammy Faye Baker and her husband, her ex-husband. Woo! Let me just say, Jessica Chastain, this conversation for Best Actress, I know everybody's saying Kristen Stewart, which is so funny that everybody's like, Kristen Stewart, hands down. Like, how does she go from y'all's worst actress and star, in Twilight to being now a front runner for an Academy Award? No holding you. Kristen Stewart and Spencer looks great, sounds good, and she probably will win because the Princess Diana, enthusiasm right now, is at an all-time high. The fandom is high. It's people are really, I remember, when it was a big Selena boom where everyone was really talking about Selena into Selena, years after her death. This is the same way I feel about Princess Diana. Everybody's doing something. Musicals, TV, everybody's doing something about Princess Diana right now. So I do feel like that's going to work in her favor. And Kristen Stewart's never won an Oscar, and it's quite a transformation, right? When you see a person that never was an Oscar actress didn't win. It's like when Sandra Bullock won for, you know, that movie that we now look back at as like being not so good. Like, I mean, The Blind Side, looking back, y'all, what was we doing? Okay. Listen, Sandra Bullock and Gravity was good. But y'all really did the most pushing Sandra Bullock for The Blind Side. I'm just saying. Go back and watch it now with a woke mind and you're looking like that was cringy. It was a little cringy when I watched it there. I was like, how is this an Oscar movie? How is a movie, how are we having a, like when I saw that movie, I thought, okay, it was cool. But it gave me like Freedom Writers energy. Like when, Hilary Swank was in Freedom Writers, like they were trying to make it deep, but like deep down inside it was a white savior movie. Yeah. Patrick Dempsey was in it. Like, it was a lot going on in that fucking film. Oh, God. There was a whole series of what I call the urban mentor film, which is like Dangerous Minds, Coach Carter, Hardball, with Keanu Reeves, which was a very good movie. And Michael B. Jordan was in it. Classic. But, there was a lot of things going on in that era. But this movie, I'm talking about, I'm just, the point I'm making is that a lot of like major big names never do films that are like Oscar worthy. So anytime there's an opportunity to give a mainstream star or a star who's done different work an Oscar, it's always like a big deal. So Kristen Stewart might win, but I just really felt like Jessica Chastain playing Tammy Faye Baker, the evangelist that was caught up in that money scandal scheme. Thought she did some incredible work. I mean, the accent, the makeup, I don't know if she was doing it for singing, but she literally transformed. Like, I was like, what is going on? Like, wow. Like, it was like, that's Oscar worthy to me. Like, she did it. She's the movie. And she's good. And also, there's that other guy. But The Eyes of Tammy Faye was just such a good film. Andrew Garfield plays Jim Baker, which is her husband, who we're like, is he gay? Is he not gay? We wonder. It was a lot. But he plays that role very well too. But I just really loved Jessica Chastain. It was such a good film. It was such a good movie. There was like, Tammy Faye was a little progressive in her own way, And they kind of highlight that about her and how she supported, LGBTQ individuals through faith and things of that nature at a time where that was very taboo. And then we also hear about, Jerry Falwell, his, decisions to really politicize, and really, create that huge radical far, right conservative movement that was happening during the Reagan era. So many important historical notes, but I encourage you to watch and enjoy it. So yeah, I mean, I'm, excited about Vegas, excited about January. This is the start of a very great, season premiere. Looking forward to hearing what y'all think. As always, I do want to just encourage real quick that because it's a new season, please, if you have not, rate the podcast. Give us 4 stars. Give us good reviews. Like, spread the word. So many of you all listen to this podcast religiously. And a lot of you do comment and give reviews. But I just want to say it's a new year, it's a new season. So please keep spreading the word. Please keep showing love on the podcast as much to help it continue to flourish and do well. But yes, I'm so excited for you all and your New Year's. And I'm seeing a lot of you all do your New Year's resolutions and goals. Let's just check in on each other in February about how those are going. And until then, be well and be best. Ernestly Speaking is recorded in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and can be found on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and SoundCloud. To stay up to date with the latest on the show, follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Mr. Ernest Owens. Use the hashtag Ernestly Speaking to tell me what you thought about this episode, and check out my website at ernestowens.com.